starting grid will look like this, with Leon Haslam, Shaky Byrne and Jason O'Halloran. The first three in the first race will be the first three on the grid, ahead of Tommy Bridewell, Dan Linfoot and Richard Cooper. The third row will feature Glenn Irwin, Peter Hickman and James Ellison. And the fourth row, Luke Mossey, Michael Laverty and Danny Buchan. So ready for the action to burst into life once more here as the riders just slide up to the starting grid. Massive crowd here at Cadwell Park. It is the bank holiday and party in the park that Cadwell has always enjoyed, and indeed, well, for 80 years now we've had motorcycle sport here, and it's never going to stop, we hope. And unleashing hundreds of brake horsepowers at once, forcing their way up the track towards Coppice, and as they hit the first turn, it is O'Halloran who's grabbed the advantage from Shaky Byrne, but Byrne was on his right-hand side and got the advantage. There's been a big crash further back down the field, and two bikes have come together and had a fairly massive off, and can't see who it was who came down there, but that was uncomfortable.
I think one of the, maybe Tycho Bike and maybe Danny Buchan, I'm not sure. Backlund, I think one of them's Backlund.
Philip Backlund, yeah. The Swede on the Quattro Plant, cool Kawasaki might be. And Howie Mainwaring Smart, we think, might have been the other. So what an awful start to Howie's second and probably final race with the ePay Me Yamaha squad. That wasn't what was wanted. Meanwhile, as they drop downhill, Leon Haslam, the safety car comes out, and Leon Haslam had already punched his way through into second place. And poor Howie Mainwaring Smart, who was thrilled to find that his father-in-law, Paul Smart, 45 years ago exactly, defeated the great Giacomo Agostini in a 350 race here at Cadwell Park, has gone down fairly heavily on the number 43 Yamaha.
That's Philip Backlund still down, and that was Howie Mainwaring Smart's ePay Me Yamaha being wheeled away, so it was definitely them pair. And that is the Quattro Plant Kawasaki of Philip Backlund, and that's well smashed. It's actually wheeling. It structurally might not be that badly damaged. The forks are still working, but there's a lot of peripheral damage there. Let's have a look. Ooh, that's...
Well, it was just a tangle, really, wasn't it, James? It just got congested.
Yeah, typical first lap. Something happens on the inside, somebody sits up, runs into somebody else up together. It won't be the first time that's happened at Coppice or the last.
Wow, that was some dramatic antics from the motorcycles, and it's the really lovely Swede, Philip Backlund, who's down there and looking uncomfortable. At least a slightly dazed Howie Mainwaring Smart is up on his feet and being led back. Pete Exton's, bless him, that's not the way he wanted to celebrate his 50th birthday from last Thursday, by seeing one of his riders suffer that accident. And Philip Backlund, such a lovely bloke,
he's nice,
flat on his back, it's all right. He's moving around, he's talking to the medics, and it looks like he's going to be okay. So after that dramatic start to the race, then that means the safety car has come straight out. The riders are already on the second of 18 laps as they drop downhill to Mansfield. Howie Mainwaring Smart on his way back towards the past his smitten Yamaha and on his way to the medical centre. Pauses. You guys are always so concerned about your motorcycles. You have to just check that the babies are all right before you head back. Tommy Hill there with a bit of crash damage to sort out, but probably relieved that nothing worse has happened to his replacement rider. Tommy Hill, the most successful rider around Cadwell Park in British Superbike history. 6 race wins, James. He said he loves this place, and he was tempted to come back out. So the safety car is still out. The riders queuing up dutifully behind it as they go beneath the shade. Hall bends into the hairpin. And as they drop down towards Barn, and Philip Backlund is taken off on a stretcher, let's sincerely hope that the Swede is okay.
Yeah, if they suspect any kind of spinal or neck damage, they won't move you at all. They get you on that scoop, they call it. And I mean, I've been in that situation, and you're telling them, yeah, I'm actually all right, I think I can get up. No, you're staying there. And they keep you down just for your own safety until they can check you out properly, get you back to the med centre.
The next question is, do you do as you're told?
You always do as you're told with them people, yeah, obviously.
So here we are then with the current order of the race. Well, you can see it there on the strap line beneath the picture. But Shaky Byrne at the front. It's Byrne, Haslam, O'Halloran, Linfoot, Bridewell, Cooper, Hickman, Idden, Ellison, Irwin 10th, Laverty in 11th place, 12th place for Luke Mossey. Glenn Irwin's dad, Alan Irwin, what a lovely chap. This is the first weekend he's not been able to be with Glenn's show jumping sister, and she doesn't like going show jumping without him. She only finished second yesterday. He said she always wins when I'm there, so she'll be looking forward to her dad being back.
I actually know what that feels like. I spend a fair bit of time going watching my kids show jumping and eventing with a horse.
So Irwin in 10th place, 11th. Mark Smith Halverson there is the boss of the JG Speedfit Kawasaki team. Looks very relaxed about things as he watches Leon Haslam. His three riders, Leon Haslam in 2nd place, Peter Hickman in 7th, James Ellison in 9th.
I can't imagine Alan Irwin, poor fella. He's got 3 lads all into motorsport, 1 motocross and 2 into road racing, and then a girl into horses in a big way. That's an expensive brood you've got there, Mr.
It's also a brood that can shred your nerves as well, you have to say.
Absolutely.
So Shaky Byrne then holds them up and then wicks up the Ducati. Haslam right behind him. We're almost alongside him as they swoop down the start and finish straight into Coppice Corner. Jason O'Halloran and Dan Linfoot is right there behind him. The 2 Hondas running 3rd and 4th. And there was a big move made just behind them as well. 2 guys came together. They swapped places through Coppice. That was Bridewell and Cooper. They swapped places through Coppice and then swapped them back again through Charlie's. So some really vigorous infighting going on for the leading points as Haslam makes his move and holds the squirrely Kawasaki together. Shaky comes back at him though and gets back underneath him going through Chris Curve, and that forces the Kawasaki wide. Yeah, it forces the Kawasaki wide, and it costs him a little bit of time, Haslam, as well there, but fair move. Oh, and someone lunged down on the inside. That was one of the Kawasaki's. I think that might have been Peter Hickman. He actually did Richard Cooper by getting inside him at the gooseneck, James. That's a brave move. Is that Bridewell in front of Linfoot? Probably, because Bridewell has exchanged paint already with and got the better of Richard Cooper, so I reckon it might be. Yeah, Bridewell is in 4th place. As they dive through Hall Bends then, number 67, Shane Byrne, number 91 in green is Leon Haslam, and then the Honda-Suzuki-Honda combination of O'Halloran, Bridewell, Linfoot. And Philip Backlund's up on his feet watching proceedings. What a huge relief that is to see the young Swedish rider up there watching what's going on. Brilliant. I had a feeling he'd be all right. You could just tell that they were being not overly cautious, just properly cautious. And already these 2 front runners are just wheedling a bit of time out on the 3rd place Jason O'Halloran, and then the battle between Bridewell and Linfoot ensuing as Haslam once again makes his move. Whoa, and this time he does have to sit up, and I think O'Halloran went through as well. Yeah. O'Halloran gets through ahead of Shaky Byrne, so Shaky now has to regroup. Remember, we're only on the 5th lap of 18. What Leon Haslam said to me on the grid was the thing that he wanted to do different was get other people involved instead of just him trying to hold Shane Byrne up. So maybe this is all part of the plan. And you said, how are you going to do that? He's just shown us. So that's one way of doing it then, scuffling things up a bit. So now O'Halloran in 2nd place, Haslam leading the race. He may want to do what he deliberately did mid-race last time, which was just steady the pace up slightly, hold on to his tyres. We're not quite sure what might be involved here as we watch this fascinating race. There, look at the number of people in contention for possible top placing here. In convoy is what it is. This is... Whoa! Who was that? Jake Dixon, I think. Jake Dixon, my goodness me, that was the Briggs Equipment BMW, just about, well, letting go of its equipment at that point in the shape of its rider. And checking his equipment when he gets back. He will be, won't he? Landed fairly heavily back in the seat. He'll be off to have a word with Spud Nesbitt. Haslam leads the way. O'Halloran 2nd place, Byrne in 3rd, and then Bridewell, I beg your pardon, Linfoot is up there, out-braking Tommy Bridewell on the inside for that 4th place as they drop into Park Curve. Linny said on the grid to you, James, that he was really taken by surprise by his mistake because he felt so comfortable in that first race. Fastest lap has gone to Peter Hickman. And Hickman has been pulling some moves there back in 6th place. the tall lad on the number 60 Kawasaki. So his teammate Leon Haslam is at the front of that pack of 6, and Hickman already lining someone else up as they went towards the chicane, and he did make a move. He did make a move. He brutalised his way past Bridewell. Bridewell tries to respond, but Hickman's through to 5th place.
Yeah, Hickman's had some good runs around here before. He's won.
He's won races here before, and he's obviously feeling very confident. Remember, he's a Louth resident, just up the road, born Derbyshire, but long-time resident of Lincolnshire. Round the right-hander, and then diving into barn turn. Look how confident the second place O'Halloran is with the handling of that Honda change. He flicks it round like a 600. Oh, and he got a terrific drive off barn turn. Oh, he nearly was able to sneak underneath Leon Haslam.
Yeah, going up into cockpits, if you're going to pass somebody up the inside there, you've got to be definite. You can't make a half move there at all. It's so quick. If anything goes wrong, you come together.
James, worth remembering that number 22, Jason O'Halloran, was the Australian Super Sport champion on a factory Yamaha back in 2007. He knows how to handle a 600, and he flicks that Fireblade round at times like it is a 600.
Yeah, but they don't weigh. They've got more power than a Super Sport bike, but it's the same weight. There's no more weight.
Look at, he's got in the inside of Haslam again. He's looking. He said if he got in an opportunity to grab the lead and get the better of Haslam, he was going to make every effort.
Well, that is the general idea of the racing concept.
Excuse me, but he doesn't sound like he's settling for points, James, because he's comfortably inside the top 6.
You've explained that really well.
He doesn't necessarily need to win races.
I understand.
But he's obviously very keen.
You've got to be careful. I mean, the thing is about Haslam, he said he was going to make an effort to slow everything down and not bunch people up, but certainly conserve his tyres and not go as fast as he could early on in the race. And that just leads to traffic jams, which we've got now. I mean, it's brilliant for us.
So the riders then single file their way round the hairpin. Haslam, O'Halloran, Byrne, Lidfoot, Hickman, Bridewell. And then 7th to 10th, Cooper, Idden, Ellison, Irwin is the order. And that was Luke Mossey, number 12, in 12th place behind the second Tyco BMW of Michael Laverty. So as they burn their way through Charlie's and on to the Park Straight, where they get up to 5th or 6th gear, up to 165, 170 mile an hour through the hollow. And then as they come up over the crest, they have to hit the brakes. Leon Haslam's holding out his leg to try and put off. Oh, narrow approach there by Jason O'Halloran, but it worked.
Well, he didn't have a lot of choice there. The problem there, as you pop up over that rise, the further you are out to the right to make a pass, you can't put the brakes on because you're cranked over. You're still leaning over to the left trying to get back. So you've got to be fairly definite with that. He was, but then he got caught on the inside because he knew he wasn't going to get past Haslam and didn't want to run in the side.
Of course, Leon doubles his own width with that waving leg, and suddenly you've got scarcely any tarmac to aim for. So Jason O'Halloran then, he's certainly looking very, very much every inch for a way past Leon Haslam at the moment. O'Halloran, who made his first appearance in the British Superbike Championship for the SMT Honda team at the end of 2008, and he rolled 3 rounds while flying backwards and forwards between the UK and Australia, and he actually got the 7th place at Silverstone, so he was impressive right off out of the traps.
And he's always said that his favourite class is the Superbike class.
There's Michael Laverty, number 7, being pressed by number 12, Luke Mossey, and the lanky Mossey from Cambridgeshire right on the back wheel of Michael Laverty. Mossey's one of those lads who's knocking on the door of that top 6. He knows he needs good points.
Yeah, and he's not going to get many back there. That's a battle for 11th there with Laverty.
Behind them, McConnell, Lee Jackson, Jake Dixon are fighting for the lower order points at the moment. But all that queue of traffic back to Irwin in 9th place are all very much contenders at the moment in this race. There's Lee Jackson with that bright orange distinctive helmet. He's in 14th place. Jake Dixon, the last point scorer, in 15th, having survived that huge moment down here at the bottom of the hill at Mansfield.
The pace not quite as quick as race 1 yet. However, it's more consistent. Lap on lap doing sort of mid to high 27s, where the quickest lap of this race is just a 27.3.
So Leon Haslam keeping the bike almost entirely in contact with the ground as he comes over the mountain, and then flicks it right, left. And they weave their way through hall bends. And this layout of track, of course, it's just always remained absolutely this ribbon of tarmac since it was first lengthened to this extent. And as they drop down across the line, that's on to their 10th lap. 9 laps out of 18, half distance here, as once again Jason O'Halloran on that black and red Honda looks to find a way past the Kawasaki. 127.777 repeated for Jason O'Halloran. Shaky Byrne also right in the mix with a 127.86. Well, at this stage, James, this is this kind of cat and mouse? Are you looking to see how it's going to generate a bit of heat in the last 4 or 5 laps?
I'm looking at the times and I'm trying to decide whether they're actually pushing on as fast as they can. I don't think they are. I think this is an effort.
Well, the fastest lap was like 8/10 off that lap record that stood when we arrived, so they're not exactly hanging around.
No, they're not, but it isn't as quick a race as race 1.
So as the Kawasaki howls its way on through the shade then, and beneath the gaze of all those spectators who are crammed beneath the trees there, watching them go up the mountainside. That's a great view from there. And then flicking their way through Hall Bends, and Haslam leads the way still from O'Halloran. Byrne, Linfoot in 4th, he needs points. Bridewell, Hickman in 5th, he needs points. Oh, they all need points at the moment. They all desperately need points to be in the hunt for that top 6. The front 3 riders are fairly safe. They're lining 1st, 2nd and 3rd in the championship. But obviously, the podium points matter to them. They want to get 5 points for a win, 3 points for 2nd, or just a single point for 3rd place.
Yeah, Dan Linfoot in 4th said to me on the grid that it's like I don't want to be in the showdown, you know. But I think he does.
I think he does somehow. That's a great rear view.
It is a good shot
over the crest there.
That's a frightening piece of track on a 1000cc bike as well. You arrive at that corner so quick, the bike tries to wheel you out of that dip, and yet you've got to get the weight back on the front so you can use your front brake.
So the top 10 then, back to James Ellison. Ellison languishing in 10th place there at the back of that queue. All these guys really needing as many points as they can squeeze out of this race. So really, they're the ones who've broken away. Mossy has got past Michael Laverty. He's now 11th. Lee Bob Jackson then 13th ahead of Billy McConnell and Jake Dixon. And then Danny Buchan and John Hopkins just out of the points. That's it. This is the crucial bunch. This is where the race is going on.
Well, basically, the battle for 1 through 10th is nose to tail through the back of Ellison.
Oh, that is great as they sweep their way through there. And I think you can expect, now that with a bit of clear track, Luke Mossy might just begin to edge in on them. We'll wait and see. Now, concluding lap 11. On to lap 12 of 18. And Haslam with that wide line down the start and finish straight always invites O'Halloran to just take a peek. O'Halloran, who comes from Wollongong, which is in New South Wales, 50 miles south of Sydney, on a kind of narrow Pacific coastal strip.
Yeah, nice down there. Actually, I've been down there to visit a couple of people in the past. There's a few decent riders come from there. Wayne Gardner, Peter Goddard, from Wollongong.
Peter Hickman has just shifted his way through to 4th place, made a move on the brakes beneath Dan Linfoot. So Linfoot now will have Tommy Bridewell for company on the Suzuki.
Good run from Hickman, this.
It is.
To be fair, it's what we expected here.
And I think now that he's got a bit of clear track, I think he'll weld himself onto the back of that threesome in front of him. I think he's going to become involved in that battle for a rostrum place change, because he's not been shy in making his presence felt and pushing past people.
No, he's not. He's a big lad, plenty of presence.
But he's obviously feeling confident. So Hickman then tries to pull back the gap to Shaky Byrne in 3rd place. On the 12th lap of 18, then we're approaching 2/3 race distance. This, well, it's the final live race of the day, of course. We have got some Superstock 600 action yet to come. But right now, as we complete that 12th lap, that is Leon Haslam across the line. And, well, was I right or was I right? 127.5 for Peter Hickman against a 1-2. The only man faster than him was race leader Leon Haslam by a 10th of a second. So Hickman is trying to claw back the gap to the 3 guys in front of him. Look at the speed as they come out of Charlie's, James. It looks terrifying. They're exiting there at about 100 miles an hour in third gear. That must feel fabulous.
It does. Charlie's an awkward bend because the camber drops right away, and it's just one of those corners where you're thinking about if the rear goes, there's no way back.
Looking down on the battle for the tail end of the points, Danny Buchan is the man who's just missing out there. He's right at the back of that string of riders, and he is actually in 16th place, hounding Billy McConnell on the black FS3 Kawasaki. And just in front of him is Michael Laverty. Well, Laverty is obviously not having a happy time of this weekend at CADWELL Park, because you'd expect the former Supersport champ and MotoGP rider to be higher up than that, James.
Yeah, you would. He needs to be if he's going to stay in the showdown positions.
Peter Hickman, I thought now, Leon Haslam, this is going to be another quick lap from Haslam. He did a 27.4 on the last lap, James, and he's trying to prize a gap here on his pursuers. So Haslam out of barn, across the line, 13 laps complete, on to lap 14, and that was the fastest lap of the race, 126.964 from Haslam. So just a couple of tenths off that existing lap record that he'd held since 2007.
Well, he's obviously decided he's going to have a push now and risk the tyre going off. It's, what is there? There's 4.5 laps left. Yeah, 5 laps including this one.
And we've got another change of position coming off here. Whoa, but that was Glenn Irwin making a late run on Tommy Bridewell, who just waits for him to open the door and then slips back in. So Glenn Irwin, once again, James, in the last third of the race, the Irish lad is beginning to make his move, and he's pushed himself through to 7th place ahead of Cooper.
Yeah, well, he said same strategy as race 1, conserve the tyre, have a little bit left at the end.
Haslam with that Mark Smith-Halverson on the edge of his seat there, watching Leon Haslam's efforts to stay clear of Jason O'Halloran and Shaky Byrne. Oh, and that was a big mistake. Hickman actually almost got over the white line coming in to land off the mountain and just rescued himself from the grass. And that mistake has allowed Linfoot to close back up. And as they drop down into barn, there's 60, Hickman, tall lad with bright red distinctive boots on. Behind him with an equally distinctive yellow helmet, number 4, Dan Linfoot, the North Yorkshireman. Then you've got the lad from Devizes in Wiltshire, Tommy Bridewell, number 46. Right behind him, you've got Carrick Ferguson's racing, one of 3 racing brothers, number 2, Glenn Irwin. All of these guys really involved in some strong potential point-scoring finishes here. Yeah, and at the front, it's not working if it was a plan to break them now for Haslam. No, you're right.
They've closed him back up a little bit this last lap as Haller and Byrne.
So on the 15th lap of 18 then, as we approach the appointed end of the race, and James, the giveaway seems to be Chris Kerr. If you see Leon Haslam getting into some prodigious drifting through there, it tends to indicate that the tyre's perhaps getting past its best.
Yeah, you can see Shane Byrne getting a little bit impatient. Not impatient, but certainly he's having a little bit of a look to see where he's going to get past Haller, and he's definitely thinking about making a move now.
There is Shaky Byrne. 4 times he's been British champion. 75 times he's won a British Superbike Championship race. That's 25 clear now of the 2nd place Yuichi Kianari in terms of a record of race wins. And of course, finally nailed his 2nd race victory here at CADWELL Park after a dearth from... Oh, big moment for Halloran. And that gives Shaky Byrne perhaps a chance. The Honda really shook its head and nearly pitched him off in barn then, James.
Going into barn, it was like he had too much back brake on there. It was a really weird kind of way the back just locked up with the throttle closed.
Shaky went too deep into coppice then and had to pick the Ducati back up. Here's O'Halloran.
Look.
Whoa, yes, it was like the back end that went
with the throttle closed. He did well to save that. Maybe went down a gear too much, or because you slot down one gear there, you go up and then back down another one.
So 16th lap of 18, and there's still a white-hot battle going on for 4th place behind the leading 3 as well. Hickman hasn't escaped the clutches of Linfoot, Tommy Bridewell and Glenn Irwin. And those 4 all hell-bent on procuring the best possible finish as they come through Gooseneck. Drop down the hill now. everybody's so strong on the brakes down there, James. We've never seen an overtaking manoeuvre even attempted really down the hill into Mansfield.
Yeah, it's dead easy to get it wrong there if you try an overtaking manoeuvre. It's really off camber, really downhill, difficult to get the bike stopped.
And tell you what, boys, we're getting some terrific camera work here. This dancing through the trees here is really sensational at Hall Bends.
Brilliant piece of track. When you get it right, it's just, you get into the first right-hand drive and it's like bang, 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 and then you're right at the hairpin, smack on line. It's really, really lovely piece of track when you get it right.
Onto the penultimate lap left then, and Shaky Byrne is not succeeding so far in getting properly to grips with Jason O'Halloran. O'Halloran was so neat through Barn that time, James. It was as neat and quick as you could imagine.
He's really been good at Barn. Remember, he got level with Haslam a couple of times early on this race, thanks to his speed coming out of Barn. And Shaky Byrne's Ducati's now sliding around slightly, and I've just seen a couple of times at Compis and into Charlie's it was moving.
And that the battle we're looking down on, and look, there's not only that battle going on for fourth, back to Irwin in seventh, then we've got Cooper, Idden and Ellison nailed together in a battle for 8th place. 8th place, remember, worth 8 points in the scheme of things. Down the hill for the penultimate time. Everybody holding station at the moment, but there'll be some moves coming up, we think, as Richard Cooper's actually crept up onto the back of Glenn Irwin. He's bridging a gap there. So this is once again becoming more of it's taken in right back to 11th place. Luke Mossey now has joined the back of this queue. And really, it's down to people. You've got to maintain such focus and not make any mistakes here. Dan Linfoot being pressed hard by Tommy Bridewell. We know how good Bridewell is taken up. Oh, and down goes Richard Cooper. I think down goes Christian Idden. That is a disaster for both of those guys. They needed points, and they've tripped over one another going into Barn. I think it was Richard Cooper initially who tapped a back wheel and tripped himself up going into Barn corner, and that brought Christian Idden into play right behind him. Watch this.
The hairpin, that was an attempted move on the hairpin by Christian Idden that just went wrong. It was a bold move. You've got to make it absolutely obvious, and yeah.
Oh dear.
That was definitely a mistake by Idden. That.
Yeah. And Christian will probably, I'm sure, the Derbyshireman will go up and apologise to his Nottinghamshire rival, but it's done neither of them the power of any good at all. That was really what they didn't need. They were both on in line, of course, for some precious points. Now then, at the front, O'Halloran is still holding that second place from the reigning champion. Ahead of them, beg your pardon, the four-time champion. Ahead of them, Haslam had an advantage of 1.7 seconds. He's surely got this race in the bag this time.
Yeah, time's running out for Shaky Byrne to get second.
He might try the shoulder charge at the hairpin.
Well, this is his only chance now, or try and get a run out of Barn, but we've seen how strong O'Halloran is at Barn.
O'Halloran neatly through the hairpin, and it looks as if he's going to be able to bag those 3 podium points, but the man getting the full house 5 podium points and another race win in 2016. Leon Haslam for the JG Speedfit Kawasaki team wins it from Jason O'Halloran. 3rd place Shaky Byrne, 4th place Peter Hickman, 5th place Tommy Bridewell, who got the better of Dan Linfoot on that final lap. Bridewell stole past Linfoot. There's Lee Jackson, and would you believe there are guys that benefited who looked like Laverty has pinched a couple of extra points there after that misfortune that overtook his hard-riding teammate Christian Idden. And he finally ends up in 12th place ahead of McConnell, Buchan and John Hopkins. Ipemi Yamaha gets the final point. But joy there for 2 very tall men, Terry Reimer and Mark Smith-Halverson. They've managed to claim Shaky Byrne's scalp and grab victory at Cadwell Park. Well done, gentlemen. Haslam wins it from O'Halloran and Byrne, and then it's Hickman, Bridewell, Linfoot, Irwin, Ellison, Mossey, and 10th place for Jake Dixon on the Briggs Equipment BMW. And Leon Haslam looks very, very pleased with that, and the crowd look pretty chuffed too. Good to see it. Good to see a different winner sometimes. So Dan, this is I'm fascinated by how the championship standings will look, James, because that mishap near the end there between Christian Idden and Richard Cooper makes quite a change to things. Here's Leon Haslam then as he cruises through Haslam is the race winner then. 27 minutes, 9.544 seconds. He didn't break the lap record this time, but he did plenty enough. And, well, he made that scheme he talked about, James. It worked.
Well, something worked. Halloran, he's got to be pleased with his performance as well. Really good.
So Jason O'Halloran will be well pleased with that. But 34-year-old Leon Haslam, that's his 134th British Superbike race. It's his 20th British Superbike race win and his 44th British Superbike podium. But remember, he hadn't been in British Superbike since back in 2008. Ollie Haslam there looking well chuffed with that. Yes, you may well look pleased, Olivia, because finally your dear husband has brought home victory once again. She's getting ready for a quick pick of him as he rolls to a halt. Leon Haslam, he worked that out really well, James.
He did. Yeah, he did. He went just at the right time. He obviously knew he had the pace, but didn't go too early and risk wearing that tyre out.
And everybody congratulating them. And Philip Backlund, thankful to see the Swede walking back all in one piece after that colossal first lap incident, even with that engaging smile on his face. So Backlund's okay. We think that Howie Mainwaring Smart is okay. Not so sure about the motorcycles. Ron Haslam there, left of picture with that glorious boyish Beatles haircut. Former Grand Prix star and father of Leon. Meanwhile, there's a bit of a, I think, is that Jason O'Halloran who's attempting to completely muller a rear tyre in the background. Howie Mainwaring Smart still talking to one of the paramedics. Hopefully he's okay. So let's check out the results then. Well, we know the result of that race well and truly, because Leon Haslam was the man who made the race win stick after losing out narrowly in race one. Haslam wins it. O'Halloran second, Shane Byrne third. Peter Hickman in fourth place ahead of Bridewell, who just nicked that fifth place from Dan Linfoot on the last lap. Glenn Owen seventh ahead of Ellison, Luke Mossey and Jake Dixon. 11th place to Lee Jackson. 12th place, fortuitously perhaps, to Michael Laverty ahead of Billy McConnell. Danny Buchan and John Hopkins secures the final point ahead of Alistair Seeley, James Rispoli, Jakob Smertz, Josh Hook and Stuart Easton. So the championship standings, I haven't even thought about these. What will they look like? Well, Byrne, Haslam, O'Halloran all looking strong. Laverty is still miraculously in there, 7 points above the red line, ahead of Dan Linfoot. James Ellison has moved into sixth place at the expense of Richard Cooper, who's now level on points with Luke Mossey. Peter Hickman only 5 points further back. Christian Idden drops to 10th. 11th for Tommy Bridewell on 109 points. Glenn Irwin is now 12th in the series ahead of Lee Jackson, Danny Buchan, and 15th place man EPM Yamaha's John Hopkins.
Leon Haslam then throwing his knee sliders into the crowd here. His fourth win of the season, and would you believe it, a first win for Kawasaki here at Cadwell since 1999. We're going to speak to all the podium finishers when we come back from the break. Shaky after your victory in race one. It seems the pace was in general a little bit slower in race two there.
Yeah, I'm really quite surprised, to be honest, because we ran the bike exactly the same as we rode it in race one. Obviously with some new tyres, but the bike moved around quite a lot. It was a lot more sideways than I was in the first race, and the problem was that the four cylinders were just kind of getting the power down initially and just getting a bit of a gap on me, and then I was kind of working to close it back up, get right back on them, and then get back to start finish and get dropped again. So it was quite a difficult race, to be honest, and I don't understand why our bike worked its tyres the way it did, but the boys will have a look on the data after the race and suss it out. Not making excuses, these two rode fantastic. Jason had everything covered this time, and Leon was away at the front, so good job by them guys. And for me at Cadwell Park, I've not won a race here for 13 years, so to win one and then come back and back it up with a double podium, it's by far a big improvement on what we've done recently here. So overall pretty happy, but onwards and upwards. We're in the showdown now, that's great. So look forward to Alton Park now and see if we can get a couple of more wins there.
Cheers, Shane.
Thanks, Matt.
OK, second place then for Jason O'Halloran. An upgrade on third from race 1, and as Shaky said there, you really covered him well.
It was a tough race. You know, I think it was lap 1 or lap 2 we had the safety car. Once that went in, Leon was leading. I got through to second. I think Shaky made a mistake and I got through. And then I know Leon was just controlling it. You know, he was controlling the pace, and I was looking everywhere. You know, I was looking so many places to get through, but I just couldn't do him on the brakes. And then about 5 or 6 laps to go, Leon put the hammer down. I went to go with him. He put a few tenths into me. He made a mistake. I caught back up. Then I made a massive mistake at Barn, and I thought. So I worked really hard in the last few laps to keep Shaky behind me, and I could hear him, and you know I was probably holding him up a little bit there, but I wanted second. If nothing else, I wanted the win. So you know, it's fantastic, double podium, first double podium of the year. Keep this momentum going, and then look forward to the showdown.
Cheers, Jason. Well done.
Thanks, guys.
But victorious in race 2, and the Monster Energy King of the Mountain after a second place in race 1 as well. Leon, perfect weekend really for you, almost perfect weekend with a second and a first, but you must be so glad to be back on top of the podium here at Cadwell.
Yeah, it was. We knew the bike had the pace. We knew it was going to be strong here. I was so frustrated after race 1, and we knew we were going to have to do something different for race 2. And I tried to manage it the best we could. And you know, all the best plans never go out that well, but it managed to work out perfectly. I tried to slow the pace up, tried to save the tyre, and then I managed to get a good pace at the end. I did make one mistake with about 4 to go at the bottom of the mountain, you know, but Jason was there as well. So for me, it was a big credit to the team. You know, it's been a hard 3 or 4 rounds, and Shaky's had a big gap on us. So to beat him here and, you know, go into Autumn now with us head high and, you know, and finish the season hard.
This is what you came back to BSB for, isn't it, Leon? To be fighting for the championship, but also performing in front of great crowds like this at places like Cadwell. Yeah,
Cadwell, you know, I've raced all over the world, and there's no better place than here. You know, the track's so unique and hard to ride, but the fans always come out in force, and, you know, when you do win here, it definitely makes it all that much better.
Thanks, Leon. Well done today.
Thank you.
The second race of the day at Cadwell Park for the MCE Insurance British Superbike Championship. Great start by Jason O'Halloran on the Honda. He grabs the initial advantage, but Shane Byrne lines him up magnificently as they go into Coppice. Cuts inside. Huge crash, though, takes out Howie Mainwaring Smart and Philip Backlund. Thankfully, both riders are OK. But the safety car has to come out for a couple of laps while they are sorted out. Leon Haslam steals second place on the brakes from Jason O'Halloran as they drop into Park Curve. And the diminished adhesion flag goes out for a moment, and then out comes the safety car. Back in goes the safety car, and the race is on. Leon Haslam waving that familiar leg, just to say virtually block packs Shane Byrne. That puts Shane Byrne offline, gives Jason O'Halloran the chance to nip through Chris Curve, and that has put Shaky back to third place, just in front of number 4, Dan Linfoot. And from that point on, O'Halloran, during the middle part of the race, keeps on launching attacks that don't quite work. Peter Hickman does make one work by getting past Linfoot into 4th place. Jason O'Halloran has a big moment going into Barn, overcooks the rear brake, manages to save it, and that battle carries on. But behind them, this attempted pass by Christian Itten goes wrong. He shoulder charges the unlucky build-based BMW of Richard Cooper, and they both go down. Valuable, precious points lost. At the front of the pack, the battle goes on for second place, but Leon Haslam has turned up the wick in the closing laps and takes a comfortable win in the end for the JG Speedfit Kawasaki team. Peter Hickman, also riding for that team, finishes in 4th place ahead of Bridewell, who snatches 5th from Linfoot. But this man's not bothered about what went on behind him. It's his 4th victory of the year, his 20th ever British Superbike race win. Leon Haslam has won at Cadwell Park. And the 4th-time British Superbike champion waits to come onto the podium, cleaning up his helmet before he makes an appearance. The perennially popular Shaky Byrne waves to the crowd here at Cadwell Park. Jason O'Halloran from Wollongong in New South Wales also steps up and finishes this time in 2nd place, so his first double podium of the season. Leon Haslam, twice beaten at Brands Hatch by Shane Byrne, manages to eke out some revenge, and his dad Ron gets the pictures for the family album, or the family cinematic show of the future. So trophies get handed out first to Shane Byrne for B. Weiser Ducati. 2nd place for Honda Racing's Jason O'Halloran. he's not got far to go home. And the race win then for JG Speed Fit Kawasaki and Leon Haslam. Also up there, a trophy for Terry Reimer, his first winner's trophy as the newly appointed team manager of the JG Speed Fit team. The last year he was in British Superbikes, Leon Haslam took victory here at Cadwell Park, but he eventually finished second in the championship to, you've guessed it, the man beside him on the rostrum there, Shane Byrne. They were first and second in the 2008 British Superbike Championship. Both of them then went on to contest the World Superbike Championship Series. Both of them are now back in British Superbikes, and I think that might be a battle that will go on right to the end of the season. And also, of course, we've got the King of the Mountain. Now, many years ago, of course, we used to have the golden helmet of the Cadwell Conqueror. That was eventually discontinued in the late 70s because actually what happened actually was five of the guys who'd won that golden helmet later were fatally injured in motorcycle racing accidents, so they discontinued them. They thought it was unlucky, and they buried it and did away with it. But now we've got the King of the Mountain.
There used to be a King of Cadwell. Got involved. Big money as well. There used to be big money for that. Sponsored by Yorkshire TV.
I'm presuming that you used to get some of that money, James. You used to earn yourself some of it now and then.
Oh, yes, I was in there. Yeah, well, Mick Grant was a team manager, so we made all the big money races.
So now we wait to crown the King of the Mountain, who, of course, will be Leon Haslam. It's done on aggregate over the two races. And that means that Leon Haslam, having finished second in race 1 and won race 2, will indeed be crowned King of the Mountain 2016. Stuart Higgs, race director, presents him with the King of the Mountain trophy. And so Leon already making a big impression on his return to the British Superbike scene after that 8-year absence. A great result then for the pocket rocket Leon Haslam and JG Speedfit Kawasaki. They're going to take the fight to be wiser Ducati right to the end of the season. This is going to be an exciting year in British Superbikes.
So, victory then for Leon Haslam on his return to Cadwell Park. But it's been a good weekend for all of the top guys in the championship, really, hasn't it? And Leon, Jason and Shaky, your 3 podium finishes from race 2, are all now mathematically confirmed in the showdown. So really positive weekend for those guys. Behind them, it's wide open though, that chase for top 6 spots. James Hayden, as I was just saying, the top 3 there all confirmed in the showdown now as well, so that kind of frees them up, I guess, to really go for it at Alton in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, what a great, it's so nice. What a pressure for those guys, because it has been so tight, and for all 3 of them to know that they're through, that's absolutely fantastic news. You've got to feel for Richard Cooper, you know, right in the hunt, 2 of those showdown spots. He's been looking so good, and to be taken out on a penultimate lap, that could be a critical thing in the season. But well done, these 3.
I just saw you grabbing a word with Richard Cooper over there, actually. What did he say? Look, he didn't look too disappointed.
Well, I mean, he knows it's a racing thing. Christian Hidden, he's a nice guy. He didn't mean to do it.
Yeah,
you know what? Ultimately, what are you going to do? It's just more importantly when it is so tight. You know, you've seen Hickman have a really good ride to 4th, and you know it is just so tight. Every point counts, and so to get him robbed is hard.
Well, as Shane Byrne shares out his bottle of champagne to some rather thirsty fans there. It's been a long day in the sunshine here at Cadwell Park, and Leon signed some autographs. It's great. I mean, this is what BSB is all about, and this is why we get such great crowds, is because they get involved in the action, the open paddock, the access that they all have, and and the love that they get back from the riders. In the meantime, let's grab a quick word with the team manager for the JG Speedfit Kawasaki team, who've taken Kawasaki's first win at this circuit since 1999. Terry Reimer, that's some statistic, isn't it? And it was some effort by your boys to give Leon a package to win on.
Unbelievable. You know, the team have worked so hard this weekend. We've had our heads down, and it's been a long day today. Yeah, finally we got second in the first race, a win in the second. King of the Mountain as well for Leon, and I can't wish for any more, really. Can't wait to take this trophy back to the team and give it to everybody, put it in the centre of the team and just shake hands with everyone.
Yeah, well, it's well deserved, Terry. And also, was there a feeling in the team that after Shaky won here at Cadwell, it's not his strongest track? Was it a case of, oh goodness, you know, if he's going to beat us here, you know, basically he can beat us anywhere?
Well, you know, he's a tough act to follow. You know, Shaky is a class act. There's no doubt about it. He hasn't won all the British Championships. He's won for any other reason, and he's a tough man to beat. And we're getting our bite. The JG Speedfit Kawasaki is getting better all the time, and